circulate here, and maybe these are gardens that do this. I don't know, dear. But I mean, this kind of section is already something that I think would be of value to you in your search. And then later on, you might do it with Khosrow's bigger project. But explore some of this stuff.
So you're saying, you know, on the one outer wall having like the double glazed wall, and on the other side you'd have, say, the balconies or some sort of...
Or courtyards. Courts, yeah.
Okay.
I could see in plan that you have a house, you have a, and he has a garden. And a garden really wants to be at least 20 feet by 20 feet, you know, in order to feel good. So you have a living room that looks out to a garden. But this garden is protected because you've got this double guy here, and this garden is green. And air is moving through so that this thing is nice to come out into. Directly on the east, it moves to noon. It has its sunset, and of course, in summer, sunrise is here, and in winter, sunrise is there, and winter sunset and summer sunset is there. Yeah? So the issue is, in terms of orientation and in terms of solar orientation, please be conscious that these are our givens. We can't change it. This is nature. Now, you could tilt your site, but for the time being, I ask you to deal with the idea that you were commissioned and paid money to build on this site, and the land, it happens to be north to the top. Another aspect, which is nature, and it happens that it's also true here in Oklahoma City, because it's generally true in the world that wind travel, dealing with the wind right, what is the microclimate going to be here? And then, you know, there are all these other aspects of sustainability that we will be dealing with, but really, principally, sustainability breaks down into sun orientation, wind, massing, and then, of course, fenestration. Generally speaking, may I say to you that you should know that you can have a maximum opening to the north, minimum openings to the east and the west, or else you have to go through, you know, you've done something. You've done it, you open a lot to the east and the west, then you've got to compensate for it. You've got to put brise soleils and sunshades, and okay? But from the beginning, some of you will decide, I'm just going to do minimum openings to east and west. I'm going to put everything in that.
Because now you really have only done an L, and there's nothing here, honey.
I'm still...
I think you're too underdeveloped.
Yeah, I'm still...
Yeah, you can easily, dear. Because the store really will not be more than one or maximum two levels. So why don't you build this one
in the west side too?
Just build it up here.
Okay.
Well, because you know, let me say another thing to you, buddy. The optimum side for the residents in that climate is to be looking north and south.
You want to catch a body of water, which then might even have a cross-axis, and so there might be some point in which water flourishes. And that water then goes and also creates a great room in here, you know, like a porch. And this one goes through here, and it allows a form to rise high. You know, a form to rise high, and maybe actually it's a shaped form. And it's cutting into this. Yeah. So it's this world, and then these are also carved out, and these are carved out, and you carve out another niche. The southern sun is your friend. Just like the southern sun was your friend for your solar, he's also your solar. He's also the best with regard to a shaded aspect. So I can understand why you would have done that, except you really, you know, then made the wrong decision about where to put the fenestration.
In section, that
well,
is.
those are only a couple of comments that I can make to you.
Huh? Because these guys you can't make this because this can't be endlessly long. Huh? Because you know what you do. I mean, especially because you ought to be thinking that this is a unit that gets cross ventilation through. Now, I like this idea. Look, this is a beautiful idea. You know why this is a beautiful idea? That if you slant this way, and you slant it correctly, and let's say this is looking south, then the sun, what is the sun doing? The sun is casting shadow on all of this area. So this is a terrific device. A little street. That runs through.
It's a main access through the city. Then we had courtyard areas, and basically the higher density buildings would be in the back, and go lower densities to the north. So you get that shadow. The sun's coming from the south. So then we did this, and then we kind of moved it more into that.
I understand. I understand. Now, before you go, let's go back to that plan.
Okay.
There, please stop. All right. Now, what you have done, I can understand, but I'm going to say something to you.
Okay.
If your intention, which is one of the things I would suggest should be your intention, is to create great positive spaces that then shapes contain, what you've done in these is just the opposite. You've made shapes with a lot of leftover spaces that are really kind of ugly. How can you, but now I know you have a beauty there, no? You have something coming here. So I don't want to spoil it for you.
It's okay.
Why don't you move this, move this to the side. Can you move it to the side? Yeah, because this line is parallel with this line, no? You could move it here, and then you'll see what space is left over. In time, if you can do it. I don't want you to
So we
ruin
have
it.
these two main courtyards.
I think, dear, I would say you have one courtyard, and if you have all the elements of a very fine scheme. You have elements of all a very fine scheme. Definitely get rid of 50% of your pathways. Get them. In fact, there's a whole game that we play of not throwing away anything. And that's just it's a ridiculous planning design exercise. But you find finally in the end that was to cut the gate to the northwest. Okay. Then your next task would have been to create.
But then at the night they'll take that down and just have it open for them, open space.
Don't know that you should do anything really down here, because if you do have trees and the tree grows, then this will all get blocked. So it's probably better to have done it here. I don't understand what this is, but this is the inside of that face. Okay, all right, I understand.
That's derived the shape of this tower, with green space on every floor, views out of every bedroom window to the north and to the east and south. And then the core would be, your staring elevator, so very centralized organization of space.
What's the rest?
It's taller commercial buildings. There might be some residential over here too, but mostly taller buildings over here, and in this corner with a big courtyard.
Mostly try to keep the residential buildings
Work
in the area.
with
So they can be closer to the port.
That was, something that everybody is kind of, I caught a fish, and by the time the story gets told, it's pretty big. He didn't work with him that much, from what I know of it, and what Goff has told me. But he did influence Goff a lot on the thought that, it doesn't have to be built as a ticky-tacky house, or we'll see how many times we can rearrange Home Depot. Because we can rearrange Home Depot so many ways, And it's just like, when Wright was designing Falling Waters, he was doing aircraft carriers and battleships and stuff, or to shut the guy up. He whipped off the top part of a mast and take it out and show it to him just to get him to shut up and leave the office. And this was a story Goff would tell me often.
What years would Goff been with, right, when would have been it?
Oh, man, that'd been
30s?
30s, yeah, that'd be the 30s.
And was Bruce
Early
born
40s
here
maybe.
in Oklahoma, or where is he from?
Yeah, he's Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.